everyone. Here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Some say it's a trophy, others say it's a threat.
Look at the size of that Megasaurus.
We dive into Maine's lakes and discover the dangers of invasive northern pike.
New numbers show more Mainers die every year. Are we even making a dent in the opioid epidemic?
And addicted behind bars, sheriffs sweep for contraband to save lives.
Lincoln Junior, Darren High School, and then the old people's home.
Meet the Golden Girls of Portland.
This is News Center Now. A Maine ice fisherman's trophy picture is blowing up on Facebook, igniting a fiery debate. Hello, everyone. I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Lee Goldberg. On one side, it's a really impressive catch, but on the other side, northern pike are an invasive species devouring native fish such as salmon and bass. Someone on Facebook asked us to find out if a 19-pound northern pike was caught in Maine this week.
Because of that question, we uncovered a whole divide about northern pike. So you tell us, are they a threat to our lakes or a prized catch? Vote right now on pulse.newscentermaine.com.
That's what you fish for right there.
Oh my God.
Look at the size of that Megasaurus.
Fish like this are making some ice fishermen fist pump with joy, and Maine biologists want to pull their hair out in frustration. Polar opposite reactions over northern pike.
They'll eat just about anything they can swallow.
Biologist James Pellerin says these fish are not native to Maine. Someone, biologists aren't sure who, put them here in Maine lakes and rivers. Northern pike were found in Pushaw Lake in 2003. The concern then was that they'd continue to the Penobscot River, and they did. The species spread, but only to the lower part by Old Town. Before then, they were discovered in the Belgrade Lakes region.
He's over 17, easy.
And eventually, they were also found in Sebago Lake, where Brady Willett reeled in a 19-pound northern pike this week.
This is Maine's new game fish.
The 24-year-old from Lewiston never expected his Facebook post to be shared over 1,000 times.
My biggest pike before that was 14 pounds, so it's still pretty big.
Biologists encourage ice fishermen to catch and kill as many as they can, wherever they are in the state. Willett let the 19-pound monster go.
I always practice catch and release because if you kill everything, you won't have nothing to catch.
Now, they are an invasive species, as we said. More than a decade ago, biologists pushed for mandatory kill laws, but officials said there was no way to enforce that.
Let's take a look at our Pulse results as of right now. And as you can see, 88% of you feel like it is a threat, while 12% of you think it's a trophy. It's early in the voting, so it keeps going back and forth.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that for you. Weather-wise, we may be getting the best of both worlds this week.
All right, Keith, good news for skiers.
Yeah, a little of everything. It's going to be an interesting week because we've got some messy stuff moving in right now, some sleet pellets, some snow in the mountains, and some rain along the immediate coastline. If we zoom in, you can tell the radar algorithm having a hard time down here. Last we were outside in Portland, it was pinging sleet, and you can see the sleet to the north up towards Brunswick as well, and then inland it's snow. None of this is all that heavy, and there could be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the mountains, but the bigger concern is the sleet and freezing rain out towards Sebago. We do have a winter weather advisory in the areas we're most concerned about, which is largely in the mountains of Maine and into New Hampshire, where we are going to see a little ice accretion later on this evening. Shouldn't be significant, but it doesn't take much. The temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s. It could get a little bit icy later tonight. So that stuff moves through. It's out of here by 11 o'clock. Then the rest of the night we start clearing out. We actually set up for a good looking day on Saturday with a good deal of sunshine and temperatures that will drive up. I think will actually be even warmer than what this model's projecting, into the low 50s along the coastline. Guys, that would have been bigger news if it weren't 75 3 days ago, but it will be notably mild tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. We'll see you later on. So the opioid crisis in Maine, it certainly extends beyond the streets.
Even behind bars, some people suffering from substance abuse disorder will do whatever it takes to get drugs. Chris Costa went into the Cumberland County Jail today as deputies performed a contraband sweep.
Haley and Lindsay, these exercises can be costly, but they can also serve as training opportunities for canine officers from all over Maine. Sheriff Kevin Joyce says they have technology to detect drugs, but contraband still gets through.
Corrections officers peel through cells.
They need it, they crave it, and they will do anything they can to get it through.
Looking for the drugs that got inmates locked up in the first place.
The average public is going to go, I can't believe that somebody would swallow drugs, have it pass through their system, and then take it. But these folks, they need it.
Then come the dogs. Canine officers sniff the cells for anything the humans miss. Officers from Saginaw County, the Maine State Police, and Department of Corrections use this sweep as a learning opportunity.
But we also feel like this is a report card on how well we're doing.
When alleged offenders are first brought in, they go through a drug scanner, similar to an X-ray machine.
It's not a panacea, you know, it's just another tool that the staff can use to try to keep the drugs out.
Sheriff Joyce says about 80% of the inmates are there on drug-related offenses, but he says they come and go and don't stay long enough for drug rehabilitation to be effective.
The reality is, the only drug rehabilitation program we have is keeping them away from drugs.
He says the prevalence of deadly drugs like fentanyl-laced heroin worries many of the men and women who finally get out.
And when somebody feels like they're safer in jail because they can't get to the drug, there's a problem.
Cumberland and Somerset counties are two of the jails in the state that have drug scanners. Penobscot County Sheriff Troy Morton says these types of sweeps or shakedowns are very common and often turn up drugs. However, the sweep today in Cumberland County did not yield any drugs inside the jail. Lee and Lindsay.
All right, Chris, thanks. We know the answer to the opioid epidemic isn't in a cell, it's in recovery.
The efforts need to continue to grow because the number continues to grow.
With opioid deaths still on the rise, what can we do as a state to do it better?
And the tweet that cost $1.5 billion coming up. Coming up tonight on 207, the Gulf of Maine is changing. Should we be concerned about changes such as the rise of invasive species like these? And the Maine restaurant that's so popular, it's changing its reservation policy on 207.
418 people died last year from a drug overdose. This number was announced yesterday by the Attorney General's office. It's more than just a number, though. It's 418 Mainers. I spoke today with 3 people in recovery about their reaction, what we're doing right, and what they feel we need to do as a state to stop this deadly epidemic from spreading anymore.
You have doors that are closing, offices that are closing, resources that are drying up, funding pools that are drying up, and there are Mainers dying.
That's 418 individual people. Sometimes looking at it on a sheet of paper, it just looks like a statistic, but 418 people who have died of, preventable deaths.
Unfortunately, the norm now is, someone else overdosed or some other parent saying that, they'll never hold their child again.
Operation Hope and so many law enforcement partners that have really embraced this idea of being recovery allies and really trying to help people get into recovery and not addressing a medical issue so punitively. More of that is needed.
The naloxone bill that sat on the governor's desk. I mean, what message does that send to doctors who are on the fence about should I prescribe naloxone or should I not? Well, the governor is just letting it, so I'm just going to leave the room.
Fatal opiate poisoning does not discriminate based on age. So why should the state of Maine? Why should pharmacists? Why should the medical industry?
To know that the community and the state overwhelmingly feel the way that they do about Medicare needing to be expanded, yes, felt like a victory.
At the end of the day, the amount of resources that are available for people who are seeking recovery, seeking treatment, will drastically increase.
We're not doing enough. The efforts need to continue to grow because the number continues to grow.
Andrew, Bryn, and Jesse have all dedicated their lives to helping people find recovery. And they say, well, the numbers show that, we've not reached the worst of this epidemic. Unfortunately, they say there's some comfort in seeing that the growth of those numbers is actually starting to slow. And coming up at 6, we're actually going to hear from Don Kerrigan, who gets lawmakers' reaction to these numbers.
All right, Christina, thank you very much. Important stuff right there. Okay, so in this nursing home, every day is a high school reunion.
No, I used to be able to swim good. Now I go in and get wet and muddy. Well, yeah.
6 women teach us the true meaning of lifelong friendship, the great stories from the greatest generation.
Snow for the mountains and warm temps for the coast. Keith's win-win forecast after the break. Liam! 6 women who have known each other for a very long time, and somehow they're still friends.
Yeah, the series finale of the greatest stories from the greatest generation.
Our table is the noisiest one in the dining room.
It's a surprise?
Well, you know why? You know why, don't you?
Meet Park Danforth's version of the Golden Girls.
Isabel Dodge. Beverly Carranza.
Janice Shane Edwards. Chad Foley.
Margaret Haley. Beverly Cooper Dowdy.
These 6 graduated from Deering High School back in 1948. 70 years later, they're together again, just a little further down Stevens Ave.
Nathan Cliff is then Lincoln Jr. and then Deering.
Lincoln Jr., Deering High School, and then the old people's home.
Leaving your home and moving into a long-term care facility can be extremely difficult. Being surrounded by lifelong friends certainly helps.
Oh, it's made it very easy, really. I'm amazed at how easy it's been. I didn't anticipate that it would be that way, moving from your home that you've lived in for a long time to this type of situation. But all these people have made it home.
As you might imagine, getting these 6 in a room at the same time leads to a long trip down memory lane. Who was the wildest one of the 6 of you?
Wow, I was the shyest. I want you to know.
They all pointed at you.
Yeah, I know. That's only because I have a big mouth now. You and I knew Jackie Cooper. Oh, you said you dated Jack at one. I went to one dance. Yeah, I have a picture of Jack.
While 7 decades have passed since these 6 have all spent time together, the tie that binds them remains as strong as ever.
Be loyal to the purple, be loyal to the white, and of the global, and of truth and right. Fight, 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 raise your colors proudly, and raise them to the sky. We conquer by the might of the purple and white for the honor of Deering High. Yay!
Now, if at any point in this week you miss one of our profiles or you just want to watch them all over again, go to the Now section of our website. The Deering Fight Song. I was so happy when they knew that. I know all the words still, but I was surprised that they did.
Now,
yeah.
I remember.
That's their high school fight song, sure.
Well, a lot of us are going to be singing this weekend because beautiful weather for those who love the mild temps, and then also some other stuff if you like the snow.
A little of everything. Not mild like Wednesday was mild, and this will be mild, but still 50 in February would normally be a big deal. It's just we set this standard. Right now it is a mess out there, getting a lot of messages about this, and we thought this would happen. We're getting a mixture of some freezing rain, sleet, and then snow into the mountains. Computer algorithm having a hard time with the radar figuring out what's what, but most of the reports down across coastal Cumberland County have been of freezing rain and sleet, not rain. We will eventually change over to rain. Meanwhile, inland it is freezing rain and some snow into Lewiston. So winter weather advisory in place. The argument could be made that this could be a little bit farther towards the coastline, but this is where they've hoisted it until 10 o'clock tonight. It will be a quick-moving little batch of precipitation. It doesn't have much organization to it, so we change over to rain along the coastline in the upper 30s. It stays freezing rain and sleet inland, and then snow in the mountains, ending with a little coating of ice. By late tonight, it's out of here, and tomorrow is actually a nice day. Temperatures driving to the upper 40s and low 50s along the coastline, right around 40 or so in the mountains with a good deal of sunshine. And then our next storm, which is much larger, moves in on Sunday. Starts with clouds. By Sunday midday or so, the snow, though, moving into the middle part of the state after already being into York County around 9 or 10 in the morning. Heavy stuff right away. It's a quick hitting storm, but it does have a nice thump of moisture with it. By later evening, we start changing to rain along the coastline. Stays snow, though, in the mountains, where they're going to pick up the jackpot of 4 to 6, up to 7 inches in some of the higher terrain. 2 to 4 will do it along the coastline. We will change over, but before we get there, we'll pick up a couple of quick inches, 1 to 2 over down East Maine. But if you don't like snow, you'll like the temperature trend, which has a 50 tomorrow, 51 on Monday, and staying in the mid and upper 40s through much of the week. Nothing all that cold in the forecast. But guys, already looking ahead to next weekend, because what a pattern we have there. This is either going to be a big storm for us or a big storm for the fishes. That's what we have yet to figure out, but there's something cooking. So I put it as possibly a thing on Friday, because I'm just not sure. But the pattern historically is for that to be a big stormy period, but it doesn't mean it always correlates to reality. In between, again, a couple shots at 50, so we'll deal with that when we get closer.
March 2nd. Sounds like a perfect day for a giant snowstorm.
Yeah, that's
Great.
about right, isn't it?
Yeah,
It sure is. Yeah.
Thank you.
For those of us who double hate, loathe entirely the new Snapchat update, there may be a glimmer of hope. Points if you know what reference I just dropped there too. Snapchat forcibly rolled out a new redesign over the last few weeks, and it really wasn't subtle. It used to be that Snap Stories and the list of friends were together with your Snapchats listed separately. Now it's just a hot mess with all of them basically combined into one list. With a new algorithm on top of it all, many people, including myself, have complained online. A Change.org petition for the Snapchat update to be reversed gathered 1.2 million signatures, but Snapchat says it's here to stay. But here is where there may be a silver lining. Arguably the biggest influencer on social media, the queen of Snapchat herself, Kylie Jenner, made it known that even she hates the new update. Does anyone else not open Snapchat anymore, or is it just me? Ugh, this is so sad. That single tweet on Wednesday wiped nearly $1.5 billion from Snapchat's market value. The stock dropped 8%, but closed out at a little more than 6% by the end of the day. Still, will this harsh reality for the app wake up the head honchos over there? I hope so, but all I know is we need Miranda Kerr, who's married to Snapchat founder Evan Spiegel, to fight the good fight and persuade her husband to bring the old Snap back. Cindy Williams, what say you? Are you going to have a Snapchat update at 5:30 or what? No, Cindy, I guess. Never mind.
Cindy Williams will be us tonight. So
It's an honor.
This is what's coming up at 5:30. Student in Ellsworth stands before a judge accused of threatening to kill his classmates in a game chat room. The story from the courtroom coming up.
And the internet is completely changing the way we hunt down drug dealers. A look inside the dark web straight ahead in the next half hour. And now it's time for some brain drops.
All right, today's is pretty interesting, at least for me. I always talk about different precipitation types. There's 3 or 4 of them going on outside right now. Found this cool tool. We can bring this up full and show people at home. This is a simulator of different temperatures in the different parts of the atmosphere and what it would produce on the ground, because I'm always trying to drive this home. You may not realize that even during the summer, a lot of times precipitation starts as snow in the upper atmosphere and then changes over to rain. What we have going on right now is freezing rain, which means that it's below freezing at the surface, but it's above freezing at almost all the other parts of the atmosphere. And you'll see it goes from snow to rain, and then it'll come down here and freeze into freezing rain on the bottom. This is a cool little tool for us meteorologists. Just reinforces kind of different layers and how things might play out visually to us. And again, right now you would find 3 or 4 of these models going on outside your window.
All right, good job. Gold medal for you. We're live from the Olympics coming up.
Okay, look away for the next 15 seconds to avoid spoilers. Olympic medal count coming up.
All right, after Thursday's gold rush, Team USA holding steady at number 4, but Canada climbs into 2nd place, just barely ahead of Germany, and Norway far and away having quite the Winter Games, sitting at number 1. Now, those Winter Games are winding down in South Korea, but there is still a lot of hype for one of the most popular sports, and that, of course, is curling.
Let's check in one last time with Paul Gerke. Paul, after a windfall, what's the latest?
Good evening, Lee and Lindsay. I'm looking forward to that big one tonight, too. We'll get to that in just a second. But after a windfall of 9 medals in just about 24 hours, Team USA caught its collective breath last night. And quite frankly, I think we all needed a little break. Although the Americans weren't able to add to their medal haul, they are still guaranteed to make history tonight. There would be no historic comeback in the ladies' singles event. The 3 Americans entered last night's free skate in 9th, 10th, and 11th and finished in those same 3 positions. How do you sum up what went wrong for Team USA?
You know, I think I don't know. I know I had a couple little hiccups, but I'm really proud of how I recovered, and I finished my program strong.
But tonight, the men's curling team will reach new heights regardless of the result. Team USA faces top-ranked Sweden in its first ever Olympic gold medal match, despite starting 2-4 in round-robin play.
The expectation was come here and play well and try and get to a medal round. So I don't want to say the goal is met because the goal is to win, but at the same time, we're going to go home happy no matter what. This unlikely run by the Americans is the coda to a redemption story for skipper John Schuster, now in his 4th Olympics, despite initially being left off the high-performance roster leading up to the Games. He assembled this ragtag crew of cast-offs. Playing so well, Team USA had to take them back.
I never did it out of spite or out of anger, out of anything like that. I really was just jealous that I wasn't going to be able to be part of what I thought I was helping develop. I'm extremely humbled by my opportunity to be part of history.
Live in primetime tonight, the Alpine skiing team event, plus a new event, men's snowboard big air, starring that 17-year-old phenom Red Gerard seeking his 2nd medal of the game, guys. Looking forward to that one.
All right, Paul, thanks very much for both weeks of your reports, and get home safely and get some sleep, too.
News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.